First of all, what is the problem we are trying to address in our work? And the problem we are trying to address is a bunch of wicked policy problems around the world. So this word wicked doesn't mean evil in this context. Wicked policy problems are those problems that have no single cause and no single solution. So when you start to solve or attempt to solve one aspect of it, another aspect gets worse. So it's like a multi-headed hydra. You chop off one head and two other heads come up. So that's one thing we are trying to address, wicked policy problems. But the idea of wicked started since 1973. It has been around for a long time. So let's jump to 2010 and later. There are two new words in the vocabulary. One is polycrisis, and the other one is meta-crisis. So the word polycrisis simply means that we have a whole range of crises, climate change and species extinction and economic inequality, and it goes on and on like that, social exclusion and so on. What is happening now, because of the interconnection of all of these, they are interacting to produce emergent crises. So we are getting a crisis that is kind of emerging from the interlinkages among those. And we call that the polycrisis. That is external to us, or we think it is outside of us. What is inside of us is also in crisis. So we have what one might call a fragmented consciousness. It is resulting in mental health issues and a whole range of other sort of inner challenges. And that we are calling the meta-crisis. So we have that in education and so on. So that's what we are trying to address. So our work, how are we addressing it? We are looking at complexity sciences. All I mean is, see, complex is not complicated. Let me make that clear up front. Complex is when you have many variables, many actors all interacting together. So you cannot predict what will happen. So you have a whole bunch of unpredictable stuff happening. And we call that a complex system. Complicated is like sending a rocket to the moon. Very complicated, but we can draw blueprints. We can make a manual. We can send that to the moon. But bringing up a child is complex. Because you have one child, you can't write a manual for the next child. The child has a mind of its own. It's growing, it's changing, reacting to its environment and its own genetic blueprint, constant evolution. That is what we mean by complex. But in our work, we also work with quantum-like frameworks. So we draw from quantum physics because quantum theory is the best explanation of physical reality that we have today. Complexity theory is the best explanation we have for social and economic phenomena that we have today. So we draw from these two fields of science and connect it as well to cognitive theories and neuroscience. So we get to the inside. Right. So we bring that together. But how do we deal with this malaise that is inside, this meta-crisis? So we ask the question, who am I? We need to understand first our own true nature. And that's when you apply that understanding, we call it applied spirituality. It has nothing to do with religion. It is the human experience of their own nature, of their own reality. And that we call, when we apply it to public policy, we call it applied spirituality. So we have drawn from all of the world's major traditions. You know, we have gone to the mystical core of Christianity, of Islam, but beyond the Gospels, we have gone to the mystical core. Same for Islam through Sufism, same for Hinduism through Advaita Vedanta, same for Buddhism, Taoism, and so on. And we collected that wisdom at the mystical core, and then the applications of that, we call it applied spirituality. That's how we get this big complex thing. Now, what does it produce at the end? So we produce three things, or we call them some different names. They are very close. One we are calling enlightened public policy, and we hope that that will have some impact on policymakers. The next one is integral public policy, bringing all these little pieces together. And the third one is wise policy making. And I think we will want to talk about wisdom more. So I'll leave it at that for now.